Operation Ultra, the Enigma Secret. In 1939, at Bletchley Park, Britain began history's most consequential code-breaking operation. This was Operation Ultra. It was triggered by Poland's breakthrough. Mathematician Marian Rejewski cracked Enigma's wiring in 1932. When Germany invaded Poland in 1939, the Poles shared everything with Britain. Mathematicians worked around primitive computers called bombs. Alan Turing designed machines testing thousands of Enigma permutations. German operators made fatal mistakes, repetitive settings, predictable phrases. By 1941, Britain was reading German communications within hours. Every day, thousands of coded messages revealed troop movements, U-boat positions, battle plans. Over 10,000 people worked at Bletchley. They decrypted German Army, Air Force, and Navy messages. Ultra possibly shortened the war by 2 years, yet Ultra remained secret for 29 years after the war ended in 1945. After World War II, Britain gathered all Enigma machines they could find and sold them to third world countries, confident they could continue reading their messages. The secret was kept until 1974. When finally declassified in 1974, it fundamentally revolutionized historical understanding of World War II. It remains a reminder that the greatest victories are sometimes the ones never spoken. Operation Gladio, NATO's secret armies. In 1945, across Western Europe, NATO established clandestine networks. This was Operation Gladio. It was triggered by Cold War paranoia. NATO feared Soviet invasion. They recruited anti-communist fighters, stockpiled weapons and explosives in underground bunkers across the continent, prepared for guerrilla warfare against potential Soviet occupation. The networks operated in complete secrecy. In Italy, the operation was called Gladio. Similar secret armies existed in France, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, Spain, Portugal, and other NATO countries. Green Berets and SAS trained these fighters. High-ranking government officials didn't know the armies existed. These were parallel structures answerable only to NATO and CIA. Thousands of operatives across a dozen countries operated for 45 years. They conducted surveillance, gathered intelligence, prepared sabotage. But the mission evolved dangerously. Evidence strongly suggests Gladio operatives actively interfered in domestic politics of host nations. Connections emerged linking the network to terrorist bombings and attacks designed specifically to discredit left-wing political parties. In 1990, Italian PM Giulio Andreotti exposed Gladio. Parliamentary inquiries across Europe followed. It remains a reminder that secret armies in democracies threaten democracy itself. The first chemical weapons. Ypres. On April 22, 1915, near Ypres, a yellow-green cloud rolled across no man's land. This was history's first large-scale chemical attack. It was triggered by stalemate. Chemist Fritz Haber proposed using chlorine to break deadlock. Germany released 150 tons from 6,000 cylinders. The cloud drifted toward French troops. Within minutes, soldiers were choking and desperately gasping for air. Chlorine burned lungs, eyes, throats. Those who didn't flee suffocated. The gas created a 4-mile gap in Allied lines. An estimated 5,000 died immediately. Another 10,000 were seriously injured, many suffering permanent lung damage and disability. The attack violated the 1899 Hague Convention. Yet within months, both sides deployed chemical weapons regularly. Over 1.3 million total casualties resulted from chemical gas attacks throughout the entire war. Fritz Haber later developed Zyklon B, modified by Nazis for gas chambers. His wife Clara strongly opposed his chemical weapons work and committed suicide using his service weapon. He won the Nobel Prize in 1918. It remains a reminder that forbidden weapons, once unleashed, cannot be contained. Operation Paperclip, recruiting Nazis. In September 1946, President Truman authorized a covert program. This was Operation Paperclip. It was triggered by the race against the USSR. America wanted Nazi scientific expertise first. The OSS recruited German scientists, engineers, technicians. The operation targeted rocket scientists, chemical weapons experts, medical researchers. Werner von Braun was the prize recruit. He had used concentration camp slave labor. Their Nazi records and war crime evidence were deliberately sanitized and hidden. Over 1,600 German specialists were brought to America. Many were Nazi party members, some were implicated in serious atrocities and experimentation. They received new identities, security clearances. Von Braun became NASA director. His team masterminded Apollo moon missions. The technological edge was undeniable, but the moral cost was staggering. Men who committed war crimes lived comfortably. Victims never received justice. The operation remained classified for decades. Full scope wasn't revealed until the 1990s. It remains a reminder that expediency triumphs over justice in shadows. Operation Mincemeat, the man who never was. In April 1943, off Spain's coast, a corpse floated ashore carrying secret documents. This was Operation Mincemeat. It was triggered by Allied invasion plans. They needed to invade Sicily, but wanted Germans to expect Greece. British intelligence obtained a homeless man's body, gave him false identity, Major William Martin, Royal Marines. They planted fake invasion documents, personal letters, theater tickets. The body was released from a submarine near Spain. Spanish authorities found it and shared intelligence with Germany. Documents detailed plans to invade Greece. Sicily was mentioned as diversion. Hitler believed it completely. He diverted troops to Greece. Defensive positions in Sicily were weakened. When Allies invaded Sicily, resistance was lighter than expected. The truth remained classified until the 1950s. The homeless man's identity wasn't confirmed until 1996. Glyndŵr Michael. It remains a reminder that the most effective weapons sometimes don't kill. Nerve gas development, Nazi weapons. In 1936, in IG Farben laboratories, German chemists made a terrifying discovery. This was nerve agent development. It was triggered by insecticide research. Chemist Gerhard Schrader synthesized tabun while developing pesticides. Military applications became apparent. Germany developed 3 nerve agents, tabun, sarin, soman. These were exponentially deadlier than World War I gases. A single drop absorbed through skin could kill within minutes. The Nazis produced tens of thousands of tons. The Allies had no comparable weapons. If deployed, nerve agents could have altered the war catastrophically, yet Hitler never used them on the battlefield. Speculation suggests he feared retaliation or wrongly believed Allies had similar weapons. Britain conducted its own program at Porton Down. Scientists tested weapons on soldiers without informed consent. In 1953, Ronald Madison died in a sarin experiment. Officials covered up his death. The full extent remained classified until German facilities were captured. It remains a reminder that the deadliest secrets are kept by both sides. Project Iceworm, secret nuclear base. In 1959, beneath Greenland's ice sheet, America began constructing a nuclear fortress. This was Project Iceworm. It was triggered by Cold War nuclear strategy. The U.S. wanted mobile missile launchers close to Soviet territory. The plan called for 600 nuclear missiles. The operation deceived Denmark completely. America told Denmark they were building a scientific research station. In reality, it was a nuclear base. Tunnels extended miles beneath ice. Engineers built an entire underground city, living quarters, laboratories, nuclear reactor. At peak, over 200 personnel lived beneath the glacier. The base would have housed medium-range nuclear missiles targeting the USSR. Launch tubes would penetrate through ice, but shifting glaciers crushed tunnels faster than engineers repaired them. By 1966, the project was abandoned. Nuclear waste remains buried. Denmark learned the truth decades later. The deception damaged relations. It remains a reminder that ice cannot keep secrets buried forever. The double-cross system. In 1940, in London, British intelligence achieved the impossible. This was the double-cross system. It was triggered by captured German spies. MI5 arrested every German agent sent to Britain. Instead of executing them, they turned them into double agents. Britain captured and controlled every Nazi spy on British soil. Not one remained loyal to Germany. Every spy became an unwitting British asset. These double agents sent false intelligence to Germany. British intelligence crafted every message. Germany believed their network was functioning perfectly. In reality, they received only disinformation. The crown jewel was Operation Fortitude. Before D-Day, double agents convinced Germany the invasion would hit Pas-de-Calais. Germany kept divisions in the wrong location for weeks. Over 120 double agents operated under British control. They transmitted thousands of messages. Germany never suspected. The system remained classified until the 1970s. It remains a reminder that controlling enemy perception is more powerful than destroying forces. The Katyn Massacre Cover-Up. In April 1940, in Katyn Forest, the Soviet NKVD executed 22,000 Polish officers. This was the Katyn Massacre. It was triggered by Soviet occupation of Poland. Stalin ordered execution of Polish military leadership. Officers were shot in the back of the head, buried in mass graves. When Germany invaded Soviet territory in 1941, they discovered the graves. Nazi propaganda publicized the massacre, correctly blaming Soviets. The USSR denied responsibility and blamed Germany. Western allies knew the truth. British and American intelligence had evidence of Soviet guilt, but with the USSR as ally, the truth was suppressed. For 50 years, the Soviet Union maintained the lie. Families received no acknowledgement. Poland couldn't mourn its dead officers. Speaking truth about Katyn risked imprisonment. Only in 1990 did Gorbachev admit Soviet responsibility. Archives were opened. Families finally learned their relatives' fates. It remains a reminder that allies can be accomplices through silence. The Cambridge Five, Soviet Moles. In the 1930s at Cambridge University, 5 British students were recruited by Soviet intelligence. This was the Cambridge Five. It was triggered by ideological conviction. Kim Philby, Donald MacLean, Guy Burgess, Anthony Blunt, and John Cairncross embraced communism. They chose to betray Britain. The 5 infiltrated British intelligence's highest levels. Philby reached senior MI6 positions. MacLean joined the Foreign Office. Blunt worked for MI5. Cairncross was assigned to Bletchley Park. They passed classified information to Moscow for decades. Atomic bomb research, ultra-decryptions, NATO strategies, Western intelligence operations were compromised. Cairncross leaked Enigma decrypts to Stalin. MacLean passed atomic secrets. Philby betrayed Allied operations, leading to deaths of Western agents. Burgess and MacLean defected to Moscow in 1951. Philby followed in 1963. Blunt was exposed in 1964. Cairncross identified only in 1990. The revelation shattered British-American intelligence trust. It remains a reminder that the most dangerous enemies walk among you as friends. Mustard gas testing on soldiers. From 1916 to 1989, at Porton Down, Britain tested chemical weapons on its own soldiers. This was the Human Experiment Program. It was triggered by chemical warfare development. Scientists recruited soldiers through deception, claiming they were testing cures for common cold. Over 20,000 servicemen participated. They were exposed to mustard gas, sarin, and other agents. Many weren't told what they were exposed to. In 1953, Ronald Madison volunteered for what he thought was a cold remedy trial. Scientists placed sarin on his arm. Within 30 minutes, he died. Officials covered up his death. They told his family he died from pneumonia. The coroner held a secret inquest on national security grounds. Thousands suffered without compensation. Long-term effects included cancer, respiratory disease, psychological trauma. Only in 2004 did a public inquest rule Madison's death unlawful killing. In 2008, the Ministry of Defense apologized. It remains a reminder that governments experiment on citizens under cover of secrecy. The Laconia Order, Submarine Warfare. On September 12, 1942, German Admiral Dönitz issued a secret order. This was the Laconia Order.
It was triggered by the Laconia Incident. U-Boat 156 torpedoed the British troopship Laconia. Upon discovering women and children aboard, the U-boat surfaced to rescue survivors. American aircraft attacked the rescue operation. Dönitz issued orders forbidding U-boats from attempting rescues. All attempts to save those swimming and those in lifeboats must cease. It violated international maritime law. The order was transmitted in secret code. U-boat commanders understood. Survivors were to be left to die. Thousands of merchant sailors drowned who might have been saved. The order remained in effect until war's end. Germany destroyed evidence. Dönitz hoped to escape prosecution. At Nuremberg, prosecutors obtained a copy. Dönitz was charged with war crimes. He argued it was justified by American attacks. The court found him guilty. He served 10 years. It remains a reminder that orders to abandon humanity rarely remain secret forever.
Operation Himmler, the false flag. On August 31, 1939, at a German radio station near Poland, staged violence created war's pretext. This was Operation Himmler. It was triggered by Hitler's need for justification. To invade Poland, he required evidence of Polish aggression. SS officer Naujoks was ordered to stage an attack. German concentration camp prisoners were given lethal injections. Their bodies were dressed in Polish uniforms. They were shot and left at Gleiwitz radio station. Naujok seized the station, broadcast anti-German propaganda in Polish, then fled. Nazi propaganda publicized the Polish attack. Hitler cited it, declaring war. "Last night, Polish soldiers fired on our territory," he lied. Germany invaded Poland the next day. Multiple staged incidents occurred along the border. Concentration camp prisoners, called canned goods by SS, were murdered and posed as Polish attackers. Evidence was destroyed, prisoners cremated, witnesses eliminated. The operation remained hidden until Nuremberg. Naujok surrendered to Americans in 1944 and revealed the operation. His testimony exposed the false flag. It remains a reminder that some wars are built on corpses dressed in enemy uniforms. Operation Tannenbaum, Swiss invasion plan. In 1940, Nazi Germany developed detailed plans to invade neutral Switzerland. This was Operation Tannenbaum. It was triggered by strategic considerations. Switzerland bordered Germany, controlled Alpine passes, housed refugee wealth. German High Command allocated 500,000 troops. They mapped every Swiss defensive position, analyzed mountain fortifications, planned simultaneous attacks from Germany, Austria, and France. Swiss intelligence learned of the plan. Switzerland responded by fortifying the Alps. They created the National Redoubt strategy: retreat into mountain fortresses, destroy infrastructure, make occupation impossibly costly. The Swiss mobilized completely. Every able-bodied man joined militia. Defensive positions were prepared. The message was clear: invasion would cost Germany dearly. Hitler postponed the operation indefinitely. The invasion never occurred. Historians debate why. Swiss defenses were too strong. Germany needed Switzerland's financial services. The plan remained classified for decades. Documents revealed the extent only after German archives opened. It remains a reminder that neutrality survives only when backed by willingness to fight. Operation Boniface, the fictional spy. In 1943, British intelligence created a fictional spy network. This was Operation Boniface, the cover for Ultra.
It was triggered by need to protect Bletchley Park. Germans couldn't know their codes were broken. Every piece of ultra-intelligence needed a plausible alternative source. British intelligence invented a master spy named Boniface. He supposedly controlled agents throughout Germany who obtained documents, overheard conversations, bribed officials. All ultra-intelligence was attributed to Boniface. German intelligence bought the deception completely. They searched frantically for Boniface and his agents. They never suspected communications were being read. Field commanders received ultra-intelligence disguised as Boniface reports. Only a handful knew the truth. Boniface didn't exist. The deception continued throughout the war. Even after victory, Boniface remained classified. The fiction protected the real secret. When Ultra was declassified in 1974, Boniface was revealed as one of history's most successful intelligence cover stories.
It remains a reminder that the best way to hide truth is beneath a believable lie.